My goal as a teacher is to show my students that they can love learning. Teaching a classroom of rowdy third graders isn't always the easiest task. The pressure of having exciting lessons for students to engage in is something that is always on my mind. Technology has advanced dramatically over the past couple of years, and it is such an important part of life. Children don't want to spend hours in a classroom away from something that plays such a huge role in their daily lives. Technology is preparing students for jobs that are not yet created. So the more exposure they have to programs like CareProof, the greater competitive edge they'll have when they are older. That is why, in order to provide the most advanced knowledge to my students, I use CareProof. CareProof has brought life into my classroom. Every morning my students arrive, I can tell they are eager to learn and to pursue new games and activities. CareProof has a buddy draw system that allows my students to work together to create illustrations. When I teach my class about fairy tales, I mention that some fairy tales can have a twist from the original storyline. In groups, I have my students make a multi-page storybook retelling their favorite fairy tale or nursery rhyme. It allows them to take the information they comprehended and translate it into drawings of their own work. When I introduce the topic of writing a haiku to my class, I pass out an information sheet and materials about Japan that I found on the CareProof website. I have my students take turns reading projected examples of haiku, and I ask them to count the syllables out loud. Then, I have my students create their own haiku using CareProof's Japanese scroll scene. I always remember to remind my students that a haiku normally focuses on nature. All of the artwork I assign my students has to involve writing. The CareProof website also comes in handy in math class, when my kids are learning to solve problems. My students create their own math problems and they are able to work on problems I project. I use CareProof when I am introducing number patterns of multiplication and division. My students create their own patterns and switch with a partner to figure out the rest of the numbers in the sequence. My students get so excited to draw that they forget we are learning. It also teaches them how to work together and how to explain their logic or reasoning to the rest of their peers. My students also make movies using this website. In science, after I have taught that forces cause changes in speed or directions of objects, I assign groups to create a video to demonstrate the information. Also, I teach my class about planets and how they are classified. Using CareProof, I go to the space scene that is already created and spell a picture. I project a picture onto the classroom whiteboard and ask them to shout out any space words they know. After defining the space words, I have my students memorize the names of the planets by creating a mnemonic on CareProof. Following the creation of the mnemonic device, I have them make a video acting it out and describing the distance of planets from the sun. Allowing my students to use their creativity helps me assess the information they have grasped, and lets me see what topics I need to retouch on. During history class, I have my students make a storybook for the lesson taught. Storybooks work for a wide range of subject matters. The storybooks create great discussions. Having my students work on the computer supplies them with a wide range of computer skills. Additionally, I can assess my students by giving them quizzes and assigning homework on CareProof. Lastly, during holidays, CareProof permits my students to make cards that they can share with family and friends. On Earth Day, I teach my students the 3 R's, and I stress how important reducing waste is. I ask my students to draw a picture to express one of their favorite things to do in nature. After, I ask a few kids to share their experiences. Relaxing activities like this one allows me to reward my students for their hard work. It also motivates them to continue to strive for excellence. CareProof was a great addition to the classroom, and I know my students are safe on the website because it judges content posted for appropriateness. I want my students to be surrounded by endless possibilities, and I feel so confident that using this technology in my classroom will provide that.